Hey, what's going on guys, it's Dr. Apolly. Today we're going to be talking about, or rather revisiting the topic of is Smash a fighting game? I really don't know why this is still a question, but every couple of years or so, everyone gets their blood boiling over this topic. I was going to make this video when the Game Awards were happening, but I had exams and after that I had some other stuff and it's complicated, but we're here now. I did make a video on this like 3 years ago, and I do recommend you check that video out before watching this one. I've gained like, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers since that time, so I'm pretty sure most of you haven't seen it. Now, I thought I settled that argument years ago, but apparently not, so this video will be the definitive video. After this video, there's no reason you could ever look at Super Smash Bros. And say, this is not a fighting game. It won't be possible. The video will be so clear, it'll make so much sense that after the video, you could show this to your 6-year-old, and they would understand. There will be no more questions to even rebuttal this, because you'll know I'm right. Anyways, what's the first argument people give against Smash not being a fighting game? Oh, Sakurai didn't intend it to be a fighting game. This isn't true at all, but let's pretend it is for a second. It's completely irrelevant. If someone makes a song and he says it's a country song, but it's very clearly a rock and roll song, does that make it a country song all of a sudden? No. Just because a creator intended it to be that way doesn't mean he actually followed through and made it that way. Second argument. Pretty similar, but a little different. Sakurai said it's not a fighting game. Again, not only is this wrong, but it has nothing to do with the components of the game. Sakurai said it wasn't a fighting game because it doesn't follow the typical Street Fighter model. There's like 57 interviews of him making 64 and Melee, where he says he simply wants to make a different kind of fighting game. In the interview everyone mentions, he's clearly talking about the FGC sort of genre and how Smash doesn't fit into the rigid bubble that constitutes a fighting game. At the end of the day, the goal of Smash is to beat your opponent to a bloody pulp, and whoever does that better wins. It's just a different type of fighter. In real life, there's street fighting, there's boxing, there's karate, there's wrestling, there's all sorts of martial arts. Are you gonna tell me that boxing isn't a form of fighting because you can win without the opponent being left in a bloody mess? No, obviously not. Even if the win conditions are different, it's still fighting. I like this comment someone said on my other video. You can pause it if you want to read the whole thing. But basically he says Smash is like sumo wrestling. In sumo wrestling, the goal isn't necessarily to beat your opponent to a pulp, but it's to fling them out of the ring. It's still combat, you're still very likely to get injured. You really go in on your opponent and it hurts a lot. It still is combat, it's just a different style of combat. The same, of course, can be said about Smash. Third argument. Smash is a party game. What even is a party game? Let's look at games that are party games. Mario Party. Okay. Mario Kart. I don't know, Wii Sports. We can all agree that those are what people think of when they think of party games, right? What is the similarity between all of these games? What's the common denominator between all of these games? They all have random elements? No, Wii Sports is pretty consistent. They're all simple to pick up. Sure, regular Smash is easy to pick up, but not competitive Smash. Just ask a Melee player. For that matter, even ask an Ultimate player. If you have never played Smash Bros in your life, it will for sure take you a few months to get used to the whole competitive language. And I don't mean like speech language, I mean like how the game flows and how you ought to play and move around and traverse the stage and all that other stuff. Not to mention advanced techniques, which I'll agree they have been more streamlined over time, but they're still there. Ask your average player to do a Z-drop turnip 190% wombo combo. They can't even comprehend what that's supposed to mean. What else do they all have in common? They all have local multiplayer? Okay, but that opens the door to a lot of other games that can be considered party games. Halo, Portal, New Super Mario Bros., Cuphead, Little Big Planet, every sports game, probably a ton of other ones too. Some of these may have party elements to them, but I don't think you're gonna be shooting beers while trying to solve the elaborate puzzles in Little Big Planet or Portal. Besides, basically every traditional fighter has local multiplayer in it as well, so you're also saying that all the other fighting games are party games too. And yeah, that's just a really weak argument. The fact of the matter is that the party game genre is either non-existent or extremely loose. In my opinion, a party game is how you ought to play the game. Maybe there's a Mario Party speedrunner out there. In that case, the game isn't really a party game to him, it's more a test of his skill. Maybe I do have Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, but I just pop open a cold one with the boys all the time and we just goof around. In that case, Street Fighter would be considered a party game to us. The point is, a party game genre is extremely loose, just like the fighting game genre, just like the definition of fighting in general. The fact is, Smash is a game where the goal is to beat your opponent to a bloody pulp, the same as any other traditional fighter. You punch me, I punch you. The only difference, and I mean literally the only difference, is the means by which you do it. Again, the goal of the game is the same, it's just the means by which you achieve that goal are different. Boxing is just using your fists, whereas Taekwondo has more of an emphasis on kicks. Boxing uses your legs to shuffle, whereas Taekwondo uses your legs to attack. Now, I'm not a combat expert, but I believe the goal of a boxer's feet, at least, is to shuffle, making small and quick movements. In Taekwondo, you need more flexible or mobile legs so you can kick high. The skill sets are different, but at the end of the day, you're still fighting. Judo has more of an emphasis on grabbing your opponent and putting them in locks. Some other martial arts may focus more on the pressure points. This is to say that they all have different ways of achieving the same goal, but they're still achieving the same goal. The same is true for Smash. Fourth argument. Oh, you have to strip so many other things for it to be a competitive fighter. So what? Just because you have to change the rules a bit doesn't mean it can't still be a fighter. Basketball has a bazillion different rules and regulations that change depending on your age, where you're from, what gender you are, etc. Is kids basketball not basketball anymore because they use smaller basketballs and hoops? No! So to say Smash isn't a competitive game where you beat your opponent to a pulp, which is what a competitive fighting game is, because we generate our own win conditions doesn't mean we're not playing Smash, it just means we're playing a different kind of Smash. Since you guys love quoting Sakurai so much, I'm gonna quote him. If people want to play seriously, 1v1, they should do that. And if they want to simply enjoy the game, they should do so. There might even be people who like to play with their amiibo. I think it's good that there are so many different ways to enjoy this game. So in the words of Sakurai himself, am I suddenly not playing Smash because I'm playing one-on-one? No, it's just a different way to enjoy the game. I don't know why this is so freaking hard for you to understand. If you don't get it after this video, I don't know what to say, there's no hope. Literally everyone agrees that Smash is a fighting game except these weirdos. Okay, last argument. Oh well, Smash players only play Smash and all the other FGC players play other FGC games. This is the equivalent of, say, Floyd Mayweather saying Bruce Lee isn't a fighter because he didn't box. He did like Kung Fu or whatever. Actually, a better example is like if a judo person moves on to wrestling because they have some similarities, and then he says Bruce Lee isn't a fighter because he only did Kung Fu and he can't do wrestling or judo. Because Bruce Lee doesn't fit into a specific subgenre of fighting, he's not a fighter suddenly. Smash is its own unique style of game. There's a reason Smash players enjoy games like Rivals of Aether and not Tekken or Street Fighter. They're both in their platform fighter subgenre. Does this all mean that we don't belong in the traditional FGC? Maybe it does, but that's a completely different question than is Smash a fighting game? This might surprise you, but I do believe that we should be our own thing aside from the FGC. Genesis is a good example of this. It has Rivals of Aether, it has Slap City, it has other platform fighting games that are similar to Smash. And as a result, there's much greater carryover between games. So yeah, we're not part of the traditional fighting game community. But again, we still are fighting games. And that's all I really wanted to say. That would be the moral of the video. That'll be it for me. Thank you for watching. Again, I made another video on this topic that you should definitely check out. It goes into more of the specific game mechanics and whatnot. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that other stuff. And I'll see you next time. Alright, peace.
When I think of Bowser, I always picture him deep in his castle steeling himself for a fight.
Or, playing golf or racing a go-kart.
He's looking pretty aggro today. Must be because he's in a fighting game. Fighting game. Fighting game.